ahead and get started. My name is Martita Robbins, and I'm speaking on the topic of mental wellness for women leaders. And I'm going to be sharing some secrets to thrive every day as a leader. But before I get into that, I would like for you to go ahead and scan the QR code, and that way you will be able to download some of my free resources. One resource that I have up is the 31 Plus Calming Journal Prompts. Since I'm talking about mental wellness, I want you to be able to have this resource in your back pocket. So you will enter your info, your name and email, and then you'll get your download to your inbox, okay? So, let's see, the temperature warning, I don't know if it's gonna shut me off or not, but we'll keep rolling. Yeah, so one of the techniques I like to talk about is journaling, but I'm not gonna spend time on that one today, but I do want you to have that resource so that you can use it at your leisure, and we'll go from there. All right, so today we're going to define work-life integration. I do know that there's another session this morning that talks about that work-life blend. And so this one will touch on that a little bit as well. So you'll be able to define work-life integration in harmony instead of balance. You will create the starting of your self-care plan for the next week. And you'll also participate in a stress-reducing, anxiety-reducing exercise called emotional freedom technique tapping. All right, so a little bit about me. I'm a veteran educator. I'm a happily married cat mom. My husband is actually here with me today. He's at the vendor booth as you're going into
he's sitting there at the
event. Okay. Yeah, that's my man. He's my biggest cheerleader, supporter, and hero. And I'm going to come back to that hero in just a second. But like I mentioned before, I'm a veteran educator. I'm certified in the state of Louisiana as well as Texas. I spent 15 years teaching high school students in Louisiana. And this school year, I'm working with middle school students as a reading interventionist for Texas Virtual Academy at Hallsville. Okay? I'm still based in Louisiana as well.
Okay.
My journey into the mental health space, right now we're in the middle of it. I'm a mental health advocate. But to peel it back a little bit, when I was 18, I began to manage the diagnosis of anxiety and depression. And last year, I was diagnosed with ADHD. As a midlife transitions coach and mental health advocate, I help women practice self-care so that they can experience less stress and more joy. And the 3 ways I do that is by helping them practice emotional freedom tapping technique, boundary setting, and journaling, as well as other specialized tools. But these are the 3 main ones that I like to implement. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about my story as to why I chose to get into advocacy. And I want to set a timer because like I mentioned before, I know that we got started a little bit later today and I don't want to infringe on the other sessions coming up. And I thought I was told I would have someone here to kind of keep me on time, but that's what I start watching for.
So 9:50?
Yeah, and I got my watch set for about 36 minutes. Okay, so I mentioned 2 things already. I said my husband is my hero, and I mentioned that when I was 18, I began to manage the diagnosis of depression and anxiety. And at the time when I received that diagnosis, I didn't know how to sit with it. There were not any black and brown people that looked like me that I knew openly communicating about those particular things. And I remember my mom.
That was like taboo, right?
Yeah, and I was diagnosed in 2003. My mom was with me when my doctor gave me this diagnosis. And I can only imagine as a parent, how do you sit with that? How do you navigate having your child, who's a very young adult, navigate through something like this? And I remember at that time, if there were resources available, they weren't available to us in a way where we knew where to gain access. And I thought that the best thing for me to do was hide. Hide the fact that I had anxiety and depression. I was always an overachiever. I was always quick. I was always charismatic. So I could hide and mask really, really well. And remember, I was diagnosed with ADHD last year when I was 38, right before I turned 39. As a result of me getting that diagnosis, I realized that I had been hiding all my life because I had inattentive ADHD. I could sit in class and nod and pay attention and smile and like I said, I was a leader. So I could do all those things, and I wasn't the person bouncing off the wall. Okay. That wasn't me.
A lot of times those are misdiagnosed.
Right. So
the ones doing it,
Hey, I'm looking for 241. I'm close.
Yeah, 241 is
right there.
Okay. I love your outfit.
Thank you. So yeah, what we've come to learn now is that a lot of black and brown girls go undiagnosed because it doesn't look the same. Because we're taught, don't you get out here and embarrass me. Sit there and how to look good, how to behave and all of that. At the same time, mine is somewhere else. That was me. So that was the beginning of me beginning to manage mental illness and neurodivergency, or I like to call it being a little neurospicy with the ADHD. But I want to go back and, like I said, my husband is my hero. Because of that man, I'm alive today. In 2002, I attempted to end my life. The anxiety and depression was a bit too much. I thought I just needed a break from work. And that was not the case. I needed intervention ahead of that point, but didn't know that's what I needed. Because again, I was hiding, I was masking, I was bubbly, I was doing all the things for other people. So like we talked about yesterday, wearing all those hats and they get heavy. One of the district personnel in my district at that time, they called me Slash, because every time she came on campus, I was the one who was in charge of this or in charge of that. Come on in, ladies. Talking about mental wellness, love to have you. But every time she came on campus, I was the one in the department meetings, and I was the chairperson of this, and I was the person selected to be on that. I was the Slash. Because I had this title slash that title slash whatever. And so every time she came, she was like, it's always you. And I'm like, it's always me, because I always said yes. And I thought, like they said yesterday, I thought that was going to get me recognized and promoted. Nope. So there I was, February 2nd, 2022, being transported to the emergency room and then to a behavioral unit for 6 days.
And that was from your attempt?
Yes. And because my husband, as my hero, I woke him up and told him what I had done. He called 911. That man saved my life. And when I was sitting there for 6 days, and I realized I'm supposed to live, and I want to, but I'm gonna do it differently. The first decision I made was I was leaving that job. I had to leave. If anything got me to that point, it was too much. It was time to go.
It's not worth it.
Right. So we had a conversation and I began to put things in place. Thankfully, I was able to utilize FMLA. And I had disability insurance that was able to supplement, but that was a time I didn't know how this was gonna work. And I realized it wasn't for me to worry about, because I prayed about it and I took the action necessary and I trusted in my husband and God. And so as I continued to recovery, I increased going to therapy. I was already seeing a therapist for a couple of months at that point. We began to meet more regularly. I began to do some of the things I'm going to share with y'all today. And I realized that I'm supposed to tell my story. So thank you for listening.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Again, I had to stop hiding. So here's my question. Because this is where I was leading up until February 2022. Mentally out of breath. Okay? So how do women in leadership thrive while managing mental exhaustion? We can't thrive if we're mentally out of breath. Is it better to keep pushing or get to the root of the matter? We keep pushing and we keep pushing and we keep pushing and we get to the point where we can't push anymore. So we gotta do the other thing. We gotta get to the root of the matter. And that's what therapy did for me. That's what tapping does for me. I practice emotional freedom technique tapping. And when I first tried it, I was like, why has no one ever shown me before? Again, nobody that looks like me was showing me that until I did have one girlfriend who's also a coach introduce me to it. And doing that, working with my therapist, working with the other tools, continuing to pray, doing the journaling, doing the inner work, getting to the root of the matter, helped me to make the progress. So I've made it a part of my life's work outside of being an educator. Oh, sorry.
She said because it will bounce. When they start at 10, you will bounce off each other if you don't close the door.
Oh, okay, thanks. And so, and welcome to the session. So I decided, okay, we gotta figure out what's gonna work. Stop doing the things that's not working. One of my girlfriends said, if we're always spinning plates and all of a sudden they fall like they did with me, you gotta decide what place do you pick up, what place of work staying on the floor, okay? So sociologist Elise Bowden says that if one is mentally out of breath all the time from dealing with the present, there is no energy left for imagining the future. I got to a point where I didn't see a future, okay? So if we get here as leaders where we don't see a future for ourselves, for the people that we lead, for the people that depend on us, where are they going? Where are we going?
Where are we taking them?
Exactly. And so if we no longer can see a future, or if we don't know how to create one because we're so mentally out of breath, so exhausted, what can happen? All right? It could be a dangerous place to be. And let me know when you're ready, 'cause I know she's, okay. 1 in 5 adults manage a mental illness. There are 5 of us in the room. I know I'm one of the 1 in 5.
Me too.
Think about the people that you lead. Think about the people in your schools, your organizations, your sororities, all the other places and other spaces where you are. If there are 25 in the room, at least 1 in 5 have been diagnosed. Think about those who are not. So if something is undiagnosed, it cannot be treated. And for us, we have to recognize what are those signs and symptoms, what are those things that we need to look out for so that we can do something about it, okay? So I want to take a moment to define the importance of mental wellness, the impact of leadership and stress, the leadership stress on your mental health, as well as recognizing those early signs, okay? And we're all here because we identify with this as on some level. It's either us, someone we know, someone we lead, someone we live with, someone we love. So mental wellness is a dynamic state in which an individual can navigate the complexities of life, maintain a balanced perspective, and contribute positively to the community. It encompasses your emotional, psychological, and social well-being, shaping how we think, how we feel, how we behave in various situations. And for us as leaders, mental wellness is particularly critical as it directly influences our ability to make those sound, solid decisions because people are trusting, what we have to bring to the table, okay? Our relationships, we want those to be healthy and thriving. We want to inspire and manage and lead other people effectively and well. And so if we are mentally sound, we're able to operate from that space and do so well. But when we're not, then it can impact us and then it creates this ripple effect. A leader with strong mental wellness is better equipped to handle the pressures of the role, innovate, and drive organizational success. And as women in leadership roles, we know how demanding and stressful they can be. They often have a lot of high stakes, long hours, the constant pressure to perform. And I was sharing earlier about me having inattentive ADHD, having that strong desire to be on and perform all the time and look like I had it all together. it can happen, and it does happen. And a lot of times being in an intense environment can lead to significant stress. And if we don't check it, it's going to escalate into burnout, anxiety, depression. I'm sure everybody here at some point has probably cooked bacon, whether it's bacon or like turkey bacon. You get to the point where it's just right, how you like it, how you want it. And go ahead and take it out the pan, okay? But if we leave that bacon in there too long, it gets a little crispier, and then that thing's burnt. So I think of burnout kind of like that. We know that if we don't remove ourselves from the fire, so to speak, we get ourselves in a situation where we end up burnt and burnout. So if we don't check it, that burnout, anxiety, depression, suicide ideation, high blood pressure being a result of what we are experiencing. The day that my school district closed for COVID in 2020, I had a rheumatologist appointment I was going to. My blood pressure, I was already on medication, by the way. My blood pressure was threatening a stroke. And I felt fine, so to speak, had no indication. And she was like, this is not my wheelhouse, I can't speak on this, but please tell me you're gonna follow up with your primary. While waiting for that nurse to leave, I called my primary's office and set up an appointment to work on my blood pressure. Because I was like, this ain't right. Because that day at work, I was managing to set up for the ACT. I was teaching high school. I was in a high school setting, so getting ready for that big assessment. It was the state ACT, and I was orchestrating that until COVID came. It was like, no school. But I didn't realize how intense that day was, and then be told we're in a global pandemic, not going back. All right. So with it, not just physical things, but our mental space is just as important. Chronic stress, okay. It said it was overheating earlier, so I guess it's trying to cool itself off, but we'll keep going. Having that chronic stress can also impair our cognitive function, reduce our emotional regulation, and diminish overall job satisfaction. Sometimes we're like, oh, I just need a break, Yeah, you do. Take it, by all means. Even if it's just like a 5-minute walk, a quick getaway, staycation, vacation, any kind of cation. Do what you gotta do. But what can you do in the moment, okay? What can you do that day? And don't ignore the fact that you do need a break, because January 2022, I left work that last Friday. You actually need the weekend. And I called in on Monday, called in on Tuesday. My husband called in for me on Wednesday because I was being taken to the hospital, right? So again, don't neglect your body's signals. Trust your gut. All right, so recognizing those early signs, sometimes it's prolonged feelings of sadness or anxiety, increased irritability or frustration, significant changes in our appetite, maybe eating more, could be even eating less. Difficulty concentrating with and making decisions, all right? Sleeping more or sleeping less. And sometimes, I know we all have our regular sleeping pattern, but even with your regular sleeping pattern, is it really regular for what's healthy? Or is it regular for you because you're used to operating in stress and you think 4 to 6 hours is healthy instead of that 7 to 9? That's a conversation to have with your medical team. Physical symptoms like unexplained aches and pains, it could also be an indication that something is wrong. It may, like I said before, trust your gut, because we think with our gut, we think with our brain, and we think with our heart. And so that stomach ache, that chest pain, that headache may not necessarily be just the stomach ache, just a little chest pain. And by the way, please don't play about the chest pain. We all know about different things leading to the heart, especially in women of color. But that headache, what is it really trying to tell you? Is it a physical indication that something else is wrong somewhere else? And if we don't check these things with our physical health, with our mental, emotional health, it can escalate and it can impact who we are and what we do overall, okay? So I want us to go through a guided EFT tapping meditation. And before we do it, I want to tell you what it is. Has anybody ever heard of it before? Okay, well, I'm glad to introduce y'all to it. I know that we all experience stress. I know that we all experience worry and overwhelm. Sis, are you okay? You sure? Because we can stop right now and have a conversation if you want us to. Okay. I just want to know, I see you. I
can identify with everything you're saying, and I've never really shared it with anybody.
Yes, ma'am.
I drove myself to the hospital because I wasn't feeling well.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I got there, they told me that my blood pressure was 239 over 117.
Jesus.
I don't know how I got to the hospital. I just thought I had a little headache. And they ran me to the back and put me in a wheelchair, and I'm like, I'm all right, I can walk, you know. But everything you're saying, I don't think I've recognized how serious it was. So I'm just sitting here, I'm full.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose this room, because I needed to come here.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad all of you did. I'm glad each of you made a decision to choose you to, first of all, register and attend this conference, to come back, we day 3 now, and to choose the rooms that identify with you the most. And I appreciate you choosing to come in here with me. All right, so a little bit about EFT.
Amen.
As we know, we all experience stress, anxiety, worry, overwhelm, racing thoughts, internal pressure, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, external stuff, all the microaggressions and all the things. And the state of the world right now is just so uncertain. And when you compound all that, it's like, man, how do I get through it? What do I do? And sometimes it even feels selfish, like, I gotta take care of the kids, the significant other, the everything else.
The last person.
Right, and we put ourselves last on the list. I don't know about y'all, when I make a list, I always start at the top. And if I'm last on the list, I never get to me. Prior to 2022, I was always last. So now when I make a list, it's God and then me. Him, then me. Because he always gotta be first. And when I realized over the past couple of years that when Martita is first on Martita's list, when Martita's cup is overflowing, she can bless other people with the overflow, and she's still full at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She's not tired and burned out from running around. Now, I do physically get tired. I'm human after all.
Right.
But it's from that place of, I'm not gonna worry about doing this thing that I want to do because I'm too burnt out. No, it's not from that. It's I got up and I did what I had to do for me first. Or if I didn't do it first that day, at some point I took care of me. And then I went about the rest of my day. So with tapping, it's like having a moment to lower the intensity of what you're feeling. It's a way to put yourself first. You're gonna quiet the noise. Practice self-care, and it only takes a few minutes. You're going to be able to, first of all, identify the issue. There's like a setup phrase that we use, and this is a form of alternative therapy. It does involve like your personal energy, but not like a spiritistic woo-woo kind of way. Like I said before, it's like acupuncture without needles. It involves you tapping on specific points on your body as we focus on particular issues. So the first thing we do is focus on the problem or emotion that we're going to address. Today we're addressing anxiety, but it could be about anything. It could be about a fight you have with somebody. It could be about a bad call at work. The possibilities really are endless. We'll use a setup phrase to acknowledge the issue and include a statement of self-acceptance. We're gonna follow the tapping sequence using your fingertips. So I'm using my left hand to indicate on my right hand, but it doesn't matter. If you're left-handed, then use your right hand to tap on your left or whatever. Whatever's feel comfortable for you, because this is personal. But we'll always start off by tapping on that karate chop point. So that space between your baby finger and your wrist, like if you were chopping karate chop, yeah, so you'll tap that first, and I'll tell you what to say in a moment, but I just want you to go through the points with me so that when I say karate chop, you know where we are. So this is your karate chop point. We will then move to your eyebrow point, so this will be where your eyebrows start. You can use both, you can use 2 fingertips, you can use all 4, you can do one hand or the other or both, doesn't matter. But your karate chop point, I'm just using one for example, so y'all can all see me. Next, I will tell you to use the side of your eye, so this will be like where your outer corner is, okay, and you'll tap there. And each tap will be like 5 to 7 seconds, and I'll tell you what to say or think. After that, we'll go to underneath your eye, so like right about here. Next place will be underneath your nose, so we'll come here. Next place will be underneath your mouth, we'll come there. And then that collarbone point will be right below the collarbone itself, probably about 1 inch or so. So I'll say right here. And then we're going to go to underneath your arm, so like where your bra starts, not necessarily the armpit, but where the bra starts. And then we'll do the top of your head, okay? And I have a bun in my way, but yeah, I still got a spot for the top. So the top of your head, that'll be it. And so I'm gonna walk you through this series of points, and I'm going to tell you what to say or think aloud. If you feel like saying it out loud, say it out loud. If you'd rather say it internally to yourself, that's fine too. Do what's comfortable for you, okay? All right, so we're gonna start by tapping on that karate chop point, and as you're tapping, we're going to first acknowledge this anxiety. I'm gonna get it to the right spot in my notes. Here we go. Oh, by the way, before we start, if you have a sheet of paper or maybe you want to write it somewhere in your phone, I want you to rate your anxiety on a scale from 0 to 10. We always start by acknowledging where we start, acknowledging how we feel at the beginning. How intense does it feel? 10 being the most intense it could ever be. 0 to 10. Rate your anxiety. All right, and then I want you to take a nice, deep, calming breath in and exhale. We're gonna go ahead and start tapping. We're gonna start focusing on the anxiety and honoring the truth of how we feel so that we can lower the intensity and turn toward the positive. So tapping on the side of your hand, you're gonna repeat after me out loud or in your mind. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I honor how I feel, and I give my body permission to relax. Even though I feel this anxiety in my body, I honor how I feel, and I am open to more ease. Even though I feel this tension in my body, I accept how I feel, and I relax more with every tap. Now let's move to your eyebrow point. All this anxiety Side of your eye. I notice how it feels in my body. Under your eye. And I notice the weight of this emotion. Under your nose. All of this anxiety in my mind and brain, I feel it in my body. Under the mouth, it's hard to relax. Collarbone, with everything going on. Under the arm, this is a lot to handle. Top of the head, and I feel it in my body. Back to your eyebrow point. At this point, you're not going to say anything out loud. I'm just going to tell you some things to think about. Think about the biggest reason for feeling anxious, and I'm going to guide you through the points. Don't worry about, like I said before, saying it out loud or even, repeating anything in your head unnecessarily. Just want you to think and continue to tap, okay? Move to the side of your eye, feeling present, safe, and grounded. Notice if it's a particular task that leaves you feeling anxious. Simply think about it. Now tap underneath your eye. Ask yourself, what is this anxiety really about? What is it related to? Keep tapping under the eye and just notice what comes up. Maybe it's a lot of things at once. Maybe it's just one thing. All you have to do is be present with your thoughts because your body continues to relax. Now tap underneath your nose. Be present in this moment. Allow the feelings you have to rise up. Tap underneath your mouth. Begin to recognize and release the anxiety. Just breathe deeply and let it go. Now move to your collarbone. Think about what's causing you this anxiety. Notice how you can think about it and now feel more calm and relaxed in your body. Tap underneath your arm and notice any remaining thoughts around this anxiety. Trust that whatever comes up or doesn't come up is perfect for you. Now move to the top of your head. Just imagine how you would approach whatever you're facing without the anxiety. How would you breathe? How would you feel in your body? Now let's go back to the eyebrow point, and you can repeat after me out loud or in your mind. It's safe to release this anxiety. Move to the side of your eye right now and right here. Under your eye, I am safe. Under your nose, I don't need to have all the answers down. Under your mouth, even before anything changes, I can begin to relax. Under your arm, I can't stress myself to this emotion. Top of your head, I choose peace instead. Eyebrow, I am open to inspiration. Side of the eye, I don't need to force myself to relax. Under the eye, I simply allow it to happen. Under the nose, relaxation is my natural state. Under the mouth, releasing tension in my body. Collarbone, it is safe to relax. Under the arm, I am present in this moment. Top of the head, as I allow the rest of my body to relax. Now take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, check in with how you feel. Go ahead and write down the intensity of what you would rate the anxiety at this point. Remember 10 being the most intense it could possibly be, and then it goes down to 0. In those few minutes that we tapped, we began to calm your nervous system, rewire your brain, and let go of anxiety. The intensity, if it's still higher, then if we had the time, we could do another round and another round until we get that where you want it to be. But I just wanted to share this simple tool that I've been practicing for over 2 years and helping my clients to implement, because it's a way to take that self-care, take that moment for you. Today it probably took us maybe 8-9 minutes. There are even shorter meditations that we can go through, okay? I think that's about my time, but I would love to stay in touch with you to see if tapping is something you want to continue to practice. If the thing went out, but I do have my QR code that you can scan and be able to get my journaling book, those prompts. I also have a vendor table if you're not able to do it today. I have a vendor table as you're on lunch and we're networking. My husband is the handsome guy with the hat and the purple shirt. He's there with my QR code. You can also scan there. Yeah, that's Mr. Robbins. Yeah, he's working for me today. I'm trying to be a nice boss.
He's
trying to be a nice boss.
for you.
Thank you. He was like, what do I wear? I said a purple shirt. So the maroon, because the dress I had on yesterday, we did a photo shoot, he wore the maroon shirt, because I told him. He said, I said, no, the purple shirt. What shirt again? Purple. Oh, yeah, that one. So yeah, that's my guy. But I do have my QR code. I can leave my tablet up and you can scan as you're going out. And we're getting ready for our switch to occur. And again, I'm so glad that each of you chose you today.
Baby,
and did
I'm glad
something
you chose
to-
us, baby, because
to
we
do.
needed you today. We needed this right
I'm glad I needed you yesterday. I was like,
Well, you got me today, baby. You got me today, baby. I'm telling you, you did what you understood the assignment.
thank you.
You
Thank
understood
you.
the assignment, so thank you so much.
And I have so much more. As a teacher, we always over plan. So I was like, God, if nothing else, let me move the tapping to the beginning
Thank
of
you.
the presentation.
Because we needed that right now. Like
Yeah.
you really just moved us on. Don't worry, I watched because this for me because I'm gonna be at the house playing it. Tap your head.
Me too.
Tap your head. I'm gonna be in the house. I was like, okay, let me concentrate and be in the moment because
Yeah,
I'm gonna need that in my
glad.
life. So yeah,
It's
that's
the
where I
little
am.
things, because I was invited at the last minute last night, and I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna wear. I don't know it ain't about that.
Yeah, it's about getting here.
And I thought, I woke up at 1 o'clock. I woke up at 3 o'clock, and I'm nauseated. I'm vomiting the whole time because of my anxiety. So it's like, okay, now I'm here, and I'm scared. And everybody look all professional. I don't have a backpack. I don't have a
You
pen.
can carry my backpack. You can carry my backpack.
But it's just things, real
Yeah, it's
silly
little
things
stuff.
to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
We don't leave that backpack and what to wear to Shay. She gonna tell us all about it.
oh,
Girl, and mine was, I walked in because I was supposed to have like a table set up and all of that. And I'm like, I just got here. Like I touched down. And I'm like, then I walked in, I was like, I didn't take care of Kim. I took care of everybody else. Everybody else is straight. Everybody else is straight. But that's what I've been on
Yeah.
since since I did this whole resign thing, everybody's been getting taken care of. And so when you said that, put Kim first on the list,
Yep.
it just was like, that is why I'm anxious this morning, because there was a need that wasn't met.
There you go.
Because I had to walk out and be like, why am I anxious today? Because it's been a great day. Why am I anxious? Because I didn't take care of Kim the way Kim felt she should.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anybody. Ain't nothing nobody can do, because you don't know what I was thinking about doing or planning or doing, but it's that anxiety hit me for an expectation I set for myself. Nobody else said it. Nobody else did it. It was my expectation for myself that I did not meet. And so then I got anxious. But that's not why I'm here today. I didn't have to have that, because we're still having a good day.
Yeah.
You just needed to come. You just needed to come and be present.
Yep.
And that's all I need to be today.
Yep.
But I've had to be so much more for the last couple of days that the anxiety hit. It hit this morning, and I was just like, and I can't stop crying. It's just like I'm in one of them. So I was like, okay, that's why I have to step away, because I have such a big personality. I have such a big personality, and me, Kim, right now will impact others, and I don't want to impact others. So that when I have these moments, I have to literally step away.
Yep.
Because I don't want to explain. Because it's not a reason. You feel me? So now I done had to walk all the way back through it, and that ain't the reason. You know what I'm saying? Just so.
Let me close this out, because I don't want whoever coming in behind me to.
Yeah. So anyway,
have all my
my sister here was like, "No, we need mental health today," and that's what we was looking at the list, walking down. She said, "I think we need the mental health." I said, "You know what? You're right," and that's just exactly how we walked in, y'all. That's exactly how we walked in.
Yeah.
I'm a mental health advocate. If you're like, okay, I don't know where to get started on this journey, that could be a conversation we can have. I can point you to.
No, I have a counselor. It was just this morning was a moment.
Yeah.
That